On that note, we begin to introduce the winners in our Books for Adults category. Emmy Award-winning veteran journalist Chris Jensen from NBC News. Chris Jensen has been one of the hosts of Jensen and Company, she should be because that's her show, on MSNBC, and has covered countless major news stories worldwide, including the war in Afghanistan, the Olympics, and the recent canonizations of Popes John Paul II, Pope John the 23rd in Rome. That's a great assignment. I'm sure you had a wonderful time there. In addition, Chris was recently named the senior White House correspondent for NBC News. Congratulations on your new assignment. You're going to do very well there. So please welcome her. She is going to do a wonderful job for us tonight. Chris Jensen.
Thank you, Ernie, and it's great to be here. What a beautiful venue, right? And it's just such a thrill for me to be here for such a positive evening. I was this morning watching the service for the dedication of the 9/11 Memorial, and one of the many things that struck me was how everyone talked about resilience, positivity, how we as American people and we as New Yorkers, for those of you who are, managed to turn some very difficult times into extraordinary service. And I think many of the people who we're going to be honoring tonight have told the stories of how ordinary people do extraordinary things. So I'm thrilled to be here to present some of these awards. So let me start by talking about someone who I am privileged to call a colleague. Our first winner is an American Story by Bob Dotson, published by Viking Press and the Penguin Group. And today, when I was speaking to the executive producer of the Today Show, where Bob has worked for 40 years, he said, nobody's a better writer, no one's a better storyteller, he is just the best in the business. And what he does on television, he has translated into this book. Now, he admits he's been in more hotel rooms than the Gideon Bible while profiling this nation's unsung heroes for American Story segments on NBC. 40 years he has done this and continues to find new people whose selflessness and compassion are creating a better world. People like the retired doctor who started a clinic for the working poor in South Carolina. Bob's personal admiration for can-do attitudes was born out of a childhood battle. He had polio. His stories, which are collected in this book, reminds us that nothing is more American than optimism that overcomes hardship. We are pleased to have with us Bob Dotson. By Amy Andrews and Jessica Mesman Griffith, published by Loyola Press. When Amy Andrews and Jessica Mesman Griffith met in a writing class, they discovered their mutual love of God and literature. So as a Lenten exercise, they decided to write daily letters to each other so that they could work out their spiritual struggles on paper. So over a period of 3 years, they addressed topics including faith, doubt, marriage, motherhood, the acknowledgement of death as a tragedy, but not the final word. Combining a modern sensibility with ancient spiritual wisdom, Love and Salt vividly demonstrates how two friends can become companions on the road to God. Please welcome author Amy Andrews. By Ron Wenzel, Travis Hine, published by Ignatius Press. Captured as a POW during the Korean War, U.S. Army chaplain Father Emil Capon saw a Chinese soldier ready to shoot Sergeant Herb Miller in the head. Father Capon calmly walked over, pushed away the soldier's rifle, and carried Miller to the POW camp. That's just one example of Father Capen's courage under fire and his heroic leadership that won over Catholics, Protestants, Jews, and Muslims. The miracle of Father Capen sheds new light on the priest's wartime experiences, the mercy he showed the captors who eventually killed him, the 50-year mission to recognize him with the Medal of Honor, and his current road to sainthood. From the Wichita Eagle, we are pleased to have with us the authors, Roy Wenzel and Travis Hine. By Wayne B. Drash, published by Touchstone Books, Simon & Schuster. Injuries prevented NBA star Penny Hardaway from ever winning a championship during his career, but the values he learned from his grandmother growing up brought him a victory of a different kind. After his friend, youth basketball coach Desmond Merriweather, was stricken with cancer, Hardaway returned to his hometown of Memphis to take over his job at Lester Middle School. On These Courts presents Hardaway's evolution from coach to role model, who helped guide his players through struggles with crime, gangs, failing grades. In the end, his efforts bolstered the entire community and earned him his first ever championship season. Please welcome author and CNN.com writer and producer, Wayne B. Drash. By Jim Zolkowski with James S. Hirsch, published by Simon & Schuster. Jim Zolkowski is a combination of Indiana Jones and Mother Teresa. Are you with me? Inspired by his father's lessons about the importance of living your faith, Jim left his career in corporate finance 22 years ago to build schools in the poorest sections of Brazil, Malawi, and Nepal. And if you've never been to these places, it is hard to fathom the poverty that is there, but the desire of these young children to learn. Since then, his nonprofit called Build On has gotten teens from America's inner cities involved in this initiative and built 550 more schools worldwide. As a result, these teens have found alternatives to drugs and gang life by learning that in helping others, they're helping themselves. We're pleased to have with us author Jim Zolkowski and his co-author, James S. Hirsch. It's a little gray out there, but summer is coming, and wouldn't it be great if your beach book was one of these, because it will inspire you and make you smile. And I want to congratulate again all of tonight's winning authors. We look forward to many more great things, great books from you in the future, and thank you to all of you for the way you've inspired us. Ernie?